excited today. If we will stand on our feet and welcome this young man of God who God moved around from many places. Let's give it up to our brother Darren. Woo! Amen. God bless you.
Hello. How you guys doing? Yes, if my job is watching this, I'm sorry. Apologize. It's an amazing feeling to be up here, and I just want to say thank you to the Dwelling Place Church for the opportunity to do so, to my spiritual coach, Daniel Machuga, for giving me the courage to be up here, and the guy behind me on piano who gave me my original invite to come here. So, what's I was saying? You guys may be seated for a minute. You guys may be seated. Stay with me for a few minutes. Thank you. I want to start by saying my name is Darren Evans. I'm from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I am 28 years old. Some of you saying like, man, that's old. Some of you saying that's young. That's cool. I like being in the middle ground. So it's fine with me. And I'm not worthy to be up here, but I am by the grace of God and my testimony. And that's something I want to kind of share with you guys today. So I want to start with a scenario. You finally started going to church. You're starting to hear the word, starting to listen to it, and it's starting to resonate in your spirit. And you finally make the decision. You pass the second aisle, the third aisle, the fourth, and you make your way to the stage and you give your life to Christ. And you say, Jesus, take the wheel. I'm here for you, and I want to do everything that you ask of me. And then after that, you get plugged into Reach Ministry. You get plugged into C groups. You start giving your time and effort to truly live in the area God wants you to be. And then you make the decision to take the cleansing and you get baptized. You're finally living in the Spirit. You're finally doing things that God intended for you to do. And then you get a phone call. And this phone call, the person on the other end of this phone, it could be via social media, it could be by word of mouth. They see the God in you. They see what you represent, and they see that. And now they want that too. Now the only thing is, the person on the other end of this phone is that one ex that broke your heart a few months ago and left you. The person on the other end of this phone is a friend that borrowed money and never got back to you, never repaid you. That person on the other end of this phone is that one family member that betrayed your trust and you don't know what to do. Plug in any other scenario because that person's on the phone right now. I have a question. What do you do? What do you do? What do you represent? What do you do when some of life's biggest obstacles is staring you in the face? So, I have one passage. I'm going to ask you guys to stand one more time. So, I'll be reading Luke 6, 36 through 37. I think I still have it provided. Haha, my man, I like the effect too. That's what's up. And it says, and we read the word in the Father and Son and the Holy Spirit, and the church says, Amen. Be merciful, just as your Father is merciful. Do not judge, and you will not be judged. Do not condemn, and you will not. Do not condemn, and you will not be condemned. Forgive, and you'll be forgiven. Clap it up for that one. Today, I want to speak to you about forgiveness. True forgiveness. That sometimes can't be found with one conversation, sometimes can't be found with one action. The kind of forgiveness that involves reflection, the kind of forgiveness that involves a deep dive into who you really are. And the title of my service today, When the Word Sorry Isn't Enough. When the word sorry isn't enough. So you guys, thank you, Ryan. You guys may be seated, get comfortable, talk for a little while. You wanna stay with me? Or, I mean, cool, you look comfortable, so. That's fine. Thank you, Josh, I appreciate it. And you know what? It's the kind of a surreal moment Because my first invite was from this guy. And now he's playing as I'm preaching, and it all started on one day working an invite. That's powerful. That's powerful, man. And, thank you. So to get started, I kind of looked up the definition of both sorry and forgiveness. And you would be surprised, to contrary belief, they are two completely different things. Two completely different things. Out of all the definitions I look for sorry, the main one that stuck with me is feeling sorrow and or regret. Feeling sorrow and or regret. But then I looked up forgiveness, and the one definition that just jumped out at me, it says, to cease to feel resentment against. To cease to feel resentment against. It doesn't say who, what, when, where, why. It says to cease to have that feeling. And let's start with one of the hardest areas. How to forgive others. When it comes to forgiving others, it's hard. There's no way to sugarcoat it. It is. We'll kick someone out of our lives without even thinking about it for months and years, and wonder why we feel this way. Well, that brings me to my first point. I was going to save this to the end, but I want this to be in the first forefront of your mind. You don't have the power to forgive on your own. You don't have the power to forgive on your own. We wonder why it's so hard sometimes to just let go, to just say, you know what, I'm over it. And you think you're good, but when that person's on the phone or you see that person, what is your initial reaction? What is that initial feeling you have when that situation comes up again? Because sometimes forgiveness is beyond our reasonable understanding, and we can't find that alone. We can't. There's situations all around the world where people have the right to judge. People have the right to condemn someone else. But it says, be merciful as your Father is. And sometimes that's hard to figure out. But you have to have faith and believe. But you say, Darren, don't understand. I'm frustrated. I'm mad. I'm angry. That's all right. That's okay. Because in Ephesians 4, 26 through 27, what's the first two words you see? Be angry. Be angry. Be angry. Do not sin. Do not let the sun go down on your anger. Give no opportunity to the devil. Give no opportunity to the devil. That is an awesome hoodie, by the way. Give no opportunity to the devil. If you read further, it'll tell you, anger is not a sin. Sadness is not a sin. Depression is not a sin. It's the things that we do when we're in those states that are. And the Bible tells us there's a time for everything. If you read Ecclesiastes 3, I'm just paraphrasing, give you a few of them. There's a time to weep. There's a time to laugh. There's a time to mourn. There's a time to dance. There's a time to love. There's a time to hate. There's a time for war. There's a time for peace. It tells you there's a time for everything. And it's okay to initially feel those feelings. Because when we feel those feelings, that's human emotional reactions. That's fine. It's fine to feel those things in the beginning when someone wrongs you, because that means you have passion for whatever it is. God tells us it's okay to do these things in the beginning. Only in the beginning. So why is it so hard to forgive? Why? If you're telling me I got to get rid of my anger, all right, Darren, I got to get rid of my sadness. I guess I can't be petty anymore. I got to let go, right? Oh, that one got to laugh. So I guess I can't do these things anymore. Then what do you want me to do? How do you want me to go about my day-to-day activities? Well, it tells us when we are angry and we feel that frustration inside of us for days, weeks, and months, that's what robs us of our joy. That's what truly robs us of our joy. The enemy gets a foothold on your life and it truly robs you of what you want to be. You're only hurting yourself. You're only hurting yourself. I heard someone say one time, when you're angry at someone else for an extended period of time, it's like drinking poison and hoping the other person will die. You're only hurting yourself in the end. And you may say, Darren, all right, I get it, I understand, but I can't forgive the actions. It's hard to forgive that actions. Which actually brings me to point number 2. God calls us to forgive the person, not the actions. God calls us to forgive the person, not the actions. If you look at some of the events around the world, let's take Charleston a few years back. Man went into a church, did a heinous act. But yet, months later, you watched each and every family member of the victims get on the stand and say, I forgive you. I forgive you. They don't forgive the act. They don't forgive what they lost. They forgive that person because God tells us, be merciful. And that's not easy. That's not an easy thing to do. Forgive the person, not their action. God forgives us because he loves us, not because our actions are worthy of forgiveness. God forgives us because he loves us, not because our actions are worthy of forgiveness. And I also want to say, forgiveness doesn't mean you have to put your trust back in that person. Thank you. Forgiveness doesn't mean you have to put your trust back in that person. Forgiveness means you choose to be merciful and not let resentment hold you from the purpose God has in your life. Thank you, James. Thank you, Jim. I appreciate you. Thank you. So I'm going to ask you again, what do you do? What do you do when that person or that situation is on the other end? How do you treat it? You know what? Let's flip the script for a second. Because how can we know what true forgiveness is if we've never sought out forgiveness from others? What I'm saying is, I'm meaning, how can we talk about the people that's wronged us? We're great at that. We would get Academy Awards all day if that was the issue. But when it comes to talking about people we wronged, that's what we don't want to talk about. Oh, y'all don't want to talk about that, right? The people that we've wronged from time to time. Because that happens. We're not perfect. I believe we need to seek to understand before seeking to be understood. We need to seek to understand before seeking to be understood. For this example, Jess, youth service, right? Yeah. Youth service. I'm going to look every one of you in the eye for this example. Yeah, I'm talking to you. So, for my youth, your parents set rules. Your parents set foundations. Tell him. Your parents set some rules. Your parents set foundations. And I'm going to set you guys up for success. They set a curfew for 10 o'clock. Be in the house by 10 o'clock, which is fortunate to nowadays because my time, street lights. Street lights. If you are not in by street lights, you are not going to see daylight for a long, long time. So, parents set a curfew. You need to be in the house by 10 o'clock. It's reasonable. First week, you're in at 9:50. You're like, man, I'm early. I had 10 minutes to spare. Next day, you're in at 9:55. The week after that, you're coming in at 10 on the dot. And then, the following week, you come in 30 minutes late. 2 days after that, you come in 45 minutes late. And then the following week, you come in an hour late. And then the next thing you know, one night you come in 2 hours late. So that very next time you come in 2 hours late, your parents are waiting on you at the door. And they see you come in the house. And normally, what's their reaction? It's just disappointment. They'll yell at you. They'll scold. If parents still do that nowadays. They'll give you a lecture. They'll give you a lecture. And the entire time in the back of your mind, you're just thinking, okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And then your parents will ask you, what are you sorry for? What are you sorry for? And then you'll say, I'm sorry for coming in 2 hours late. I'm sorry. Thank you, John. I'm sorry for coming in 2 hours late. And it's in that moment, you gotta ask yourself, you're sorry for coming in 2 hours late. But what about the night you were 30 minutes late? What about the night you were 45? What about the night you were an hour? I know that party was off the hook last week, but what about that night you were an hour and a half late? We're sorry in the moment a lot in our lives. Only in the moment. But little do you know that every single night you were late, your parents were waiting for you. That 30 minutes, that hour and a half, every single night, they're praying for your safe return. Every night. And I want to ask now everyone, how many times have we done something in our lives where we were only sorry in the moment? We're only sorry that it happened right then and there. Hey, I'm sorry I didn't give you your money. I'll give it to you later. Hey, I'm sorry I didn't make it to this. I'll give it to you later. Hey, I'm sorry I couldn't bring you to this location. I got you next time. sometimes we don't know the true extent of what we do. We're only sorry in the moment. And why that robs a lot of people is because while we're only sorry in the moment, that person that we hurt, the impact that we had on their lives, they're not our parents. They are not. So they may not be at home praying for our forgiveness, praying for our safe return. They may end up with the exact same bitterness and hatred and anger that you hold for someone else. And that's how the cycle happens. In order to truly understand forgiveness, we got to understand what it's like to ask for it. To truly be able to give forgiveness, we got to know what it's like to receive it from others. We have to be vulnerable. We have to be honest with ourselves. Sometimes when people say, hey, you did this wrong, it's embarrassing to talk about. It is. The fact that you put your belief in something and you were wrong. But be thankful that you have people in your life to tell you you're wrong. So, I got a story for you guys. Story is near and dear to my heart, whatnot, and it's how I found forgiveness. Or better yet, how forgiveness found me. So growing up, my parents got divorced my parents were divorced when I was a young age. My parents got divorced when I was like 9 or 10. Almost to the point where I legitimately have only five or six memories of my parents together. Only like 5 or 6. And we grew up, and eventually there started to be separation between me and my mom. We had difference of opinions, we had different agendas, different things, and we started to slowly grow apart. And maybe I just didn't notice it, but it all fell apart one night in 2007. And 2007 is the year I graduated high school. I know some of you are saying, wow, you're really old. Calm down. Calm down. So, 07, what? So, on this night, my graduation night, right after I got off the stage, so I guess I went from high school to reality the moment I got off the stage. Because my mom and I got into a bad argument. A bad argument. And I looked her in the eye and I said, please, don't do this. Not tonight. Not this one night. Let me be selfish this one night. She did it anyway. And we got into a bad argument. She got into an argument with my dad. I got into an argument with her. And my mom told me for the first time, or not the first time, my mom said, who do you think you're talking to? And every other time I'm just like, I'm sorry in the moment. But this one time, she said, who do you think you're talking to? I said, you. I said, you've ruined my life. The things that you've done, I'll never forgive you for this. I told her that on my graduation night. My mom tried to apologize a few days later. I didn't listen. Didn't listen at all. I didn't want to hear what she had to say, and that's the first time I felt true unforgiveness. That cold feeling on the inside where you just shrug your shoulders and you don't care. You just don't care what the outcome looks like. A few weeks later, I went to her house. We had a conversation, and she cried. And the type of crying I'm talking about is she had so much weight on her, and she says, I'm sorry. Do you forgive me? Can I have your forgiveness? And I said, I forgive you. What she took from me that night of the graduation, I said she could keep it. It's not worth it anymore. And in that moment, I did something I told you guys just not to do. I forgave the action. I didn't forgive the person. I forgave the action, and I didn't forgive the person. And it was at that moment, I didn't realize it, but I was losing sight of who my mom was. And then a year and a half later, 2008 to 2009, I talked to my mom maybe less than 30 times. Less than 30 times in a year. And 2009 rolls around, I did the Disney College program, amazing experience, and that was my first experience coming to Orlando. And March, St. Patrick's Day, I remember this, I was in Disney Springs. My mom calls me and says, hey, I'm getting married. And I want you to be in my wedding. She was getting married to a guy I really didn't like at the time. And I remember telling her, no. I won't be in your wedding. I will not. And she said to me, and I'll never forget this, she said the words, Darren, you don't know how much this hurts me. Don't know how much this hurts me. You know what I said? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And the definition of sorry is to feel sorrow or regret. I felt none of those things in that moment. I felt no forgiveness. I was empty. I had true unforgiveness. I didn't care. And the worst part about it was I was oblivious to it and didn't even know it. I felt like I had conquered what my mom had did to me. I felt like I had gotten over that, and I'm man enough to tell her no and mean it. When it said be angry, I was just angry. I didn't read the rest of the verse. I was just angry. And I remember getting off the phone with her, then May rolls around. My brother calls me. And by the way, my brother is one of the most nonchalant people in the world. He's one of the most reserved people in the world. Like, if we're in a house and a fire breaks out, I hope he has a whistle. Because no one is going to hear him. He's a very reserved person. He calls me and he says, hey, yo, mom got in a little car accident. She's in the hospital. Just wanted to keep you updated. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, all right. I was like, okay. When I get home, give her some medicine. We'll go to one of her favorite restaurants. And then we'll just laugh it off. We'll just continue life. Because that was my mom. That was my mom. And I get home, and I remember getting home on a Friday. And when I got home that Friday, I told myself, man, I need to go see my mom. So Saturday rolls around. I remember thinking, I'll go see her tomorrow. I was like, I'm still tired from a 10-hour drive. I worked a double before I left for that drive. I'll go see her tomorrow. And I go Sunday, and that's when my dad tells me, hey, your mom's in the ICU. She's not doing too well. I want you to like try to cheer her up. I said, all right. I was like, yeah. I go in there, I see all the scars, I see the bruises, and I was like, hey, mom, how you been? She was like, I've been better. I was like, yeah, but we're gonna get through this. Just like we normally get through everything else. And I told my mom about my trip to Orlando. I told her I bought her a bell. I bought her a bell that says, I love you, Mom, and on the bottom it said Florida. One night, I left it at home. My mom just looked at me and she was like, did you really buy me something? I was like, yes, I actually bought you something. She was like, wait a minute. I was like, all right, cool, whatever. You don't have to believe me. I bought it. And bought her that. The nurse was like, all right, it's time to go. I said, okay, I'll be back. I was like, all right, cool, love you, Mom. Walks out. That following Sunday, she passed away. That following Sunday, she passed away. And it was in that moment I lost sight of who she really was. I forgot the woman that raised me. You can put it up. That's my mom. I lost sight of everything and made her who she was. And it robbed me of my joy. It robbed me of my joy and my peace. And I didn't even know. For the longest time. And it's weird because I said I had resentment towards her up until 2007. But if you ask me now, what was one argument you had before 2007? I'll sit there and look at you and say, I don't remember. I don't remember one argument or disagreement we had before the night of 2007. And which brings me to the third point. I don't have it up there. But you can't forgive others until you forgive yourself. And this picture right here means the world to me. Because this was my ring ceremony night in 2006, I believe. 2006. And I actually found it like a few days ago. And the reason why this picture means so much to me, and I want you guys to understand what unforgiveness can do. My graduation night, I was so mad. All the pictures I had of her, I deleted them. I deleted those photos. And this will forever be the latest photo I have of her. And that's how I want to remember us. So from 2007 to the year she passed away, I don't have any other memory of her but the ones in my heart and my soul. And I don't want you guys to have that unforgiveness, because I learned in the hardest way humanly possible that the root of unforgiveness is a lack of gratitude and gratefulness. I didn't have that. And after her funeral, I gave one of the worst speeches ever, because I didn't have it then. I didn't have it then. Even a year later, I just couldn't understand why I still felt the way I felt. My mom passed away. I didn't know her favorite color. I didn't know a lot of things about my mom. I didn't. But I'm learning more about her in death than I did life. And it shouldn't be that. So I ask you again, what do you do? What do you do when that person's on the phone? How do you treat it? I want to give you guys an opportunity today. I want to give you guys an opportunity today to not have that unforgiveness. You may not know how to seek forgiveness. You may not know where to look. You may not know where to go. But God will always lead you there. God will always find that mercy that you need. And it's beyond our reasonable understanding of how to find forgiveness sometimes. And that's okay. Because he even says when we're angry, when we're broken, we're in our weakest states, that's when God will pick us up. But I want you guys to take more of a self-reflection. I know I said it's a curfew at 10 o'clock, but God is setting a curfew for us to say that anytime something goes wrong in your life, acknowledge it. Acknowledge it. You have to speak this and know it is a thing. So if you do anything wrong, acknowledge it. Don't just say sorry and move on, because you never know the effect it has on others, but you also never know the effect it has on you. So I'm going to invite my sister Jen up here, and this is not a traditional altar call. It's not. This is not just to say you want to give your life to Christ or you're searching for something. This is to say if you wrong somebody. This is to say if you have any guilt or anything that you've done to someone. The lyrics to this song is, even when it hurts, I praise him. Even when I'm in my darkest moments, I praise him. Even when I have a weight, even when I have a burden, I praise him. Because I know he is the only way for me to get rid of that unforgiveness. If you need that today, stand to your feet. If you need that forgiveness today, praise him. And if you need that extra prayer, come down here. I'll have Daniel and Alex here for you guys if you need additional prayer. But in this moment, I want you to truly ask, what is it that's stopping you from living the life God wants you to live and to represent him? Thank you guys. Thank you guys a lot. And I told you I gave my mom a bad speech at her funeral. And one of my good friends played piano that day, Mark. So Mark, family, if you're watching, this one's for you guys too. Do you mind if I give her another speech? Do you mind if I give her another speech real quick? Thank you. Josh, stay with me, man. I appreciate you. So I actually have some of the things written down that I said that day. I told the crowd my mom was a rainbow of emotions. What I forgot to say was that rainbow led the way for me to find God's promises in my life. I also told the crowd I was upset my mom never got to see me work at Disney. What I forgot to tell them is because of her crazy cool personality that resides in me, I got the job in the first place. My mom knew how to overcome obstacles. Boy, did she. And she would come on the other side victorious. When my mom's back was against the wall on a Monday, by Tuesday afternoon, she knocked it down. My mom was a fighter. My mom was a fighter through and through. And so am I. So, crowd, I just want to tell her thank you. I said I was sorry that day for a lot of things, but I never said thank you. So thank you for the person that I am today. Thank you for helping me become who I am. Thank you for all the trips to Blockbuster so I can rent all the movies. And now I want to be movie CEO so I can tell people about the movies that I watch. I want to say thank you for supporting me when no one else could. But of all else, I want to say thank you for being my mother. And thank you for the times that we spent together. So crowd, I'll ask you again, what do you do? What do you do when that person's on the phone? When they say sorry, John, when they say sorry, I want you to know that you just need to flip that word. You need to flip that word to thank you. You need to flip that word from sorry to thank you. Thank you for all the things that you've done in my life. Thank you for being there for me. So when someone says, hey, I'm sorry I didn't have that money for you. No, I'm sorry. I'm actually thankful that I had the funds to give to you at that time. I'm thankful that I have funds to give to the Reach Ministry. I'm thankful that I have funds to give out. To that person that said, hey, I broke your heart. I'm sorry. No, thank you for the time we spent together. Thank you for all the things that you've taught me in my life, because I know God is preparing a husband and a wife for us right now. And to that family, to that family member that betrayed your trust, all you have to do is say thank you for having family. Thank you for being there for me when I needed it sometimes. Be thankful that you have family to fight with. Be thankful that you have family to throw hands with from time to time and go through hell and back, because a lot of us don't. But I just want to tell you guys, true forgiveness is found in gratefulness. If you can't say sorry, if you can't say I forgive you, if you can't say these things, find it in God. Find it in God. Tell God thank you. Praise His name, and He will always show you. Once again, my name is Darren. I am from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I am 28 years of age. I am not worthy to be up here, but by the grace of God I am. And I think it's time for the church. I don't have to do this. I get to do this. Thank you.